want to say this is kind of like a part 2 to what Wesley posted. And I told Wesley, like, hey, I want to kind of talk to you about all the things that you said. Because a lot of it was like, oh, that's super cool. Wesley's figured out this direction. But for me, it's like, all right, let's put this into action. What does it actually look like? Because I think for me as a subscriber, I'm listening to this. I'm like, hey, like, seems like you know a general direction of what you don't want to do, but is it really clear on what you want to do? So this is me just hammering questions on him and him reflecting, I think, deeper, because I think there's levels to this, and to get like a full breadth of who am I, and like what am I trying to do and what am I trying to put out. You need other people to question you and question your philosophy to really bring out that. So happened to me, happens to everybody, and like I realized like this is a good chance to have it for you.
Sure. So
Yeah, and then back to the first question.
Yeah,
what
back
was
to the first.
What was the last video? Give us a recap.
Yeah, so it was about how I wanted to do finance, but after I started Mumbling Thoughts, I kind of was in between the two. And then this past summer, I gained more clarity on the direction Mumbling Thoughts should be heading, or where I want it to head. And now, even though I'm starting to get interested in finance again, I'm questioning if that's my purpose or my passion. And I said, it's not really what I want to do long term. So since I have the direction I want to head for Mumbling Thoughts and I want to commit to that, I might as well just work on that instead and spend my time focusing on Mumbling Thoughts.
Okay, so recap on, and let me know if this is right. Recap on last video. You thought about it, reflected on this career in finance, and you're like, I don't see myself long term in this. So, but I'm doing this Mumbling Thoughts thing, and it's been really fun. I enjoy doing it, and I want to like keep pursuing this. I want to see a future with this. That's right?
Basically.
Cool. So makes total sense. Everything else with like I went to build space, travel, all that, like that's cool. That helps bring context. But I think at its core, it's I wanted to do this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I want to do purposeful work, and that's more sustainable for me.
Yeah.
So I would say like, okay, the thing here that I'm really curious about is you want to pursue Mumbling Thoughts long term.
Yeah, I feel like I do.
You feel like you do,
Yeah.
which is great. It always starts with a feeling, right?
Well, it's always been a feeling. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that makes me question, so then what about school? Because I don't think we hit on that. Like, you're going to keep going with finance, or are you going to switch majors, or are you going to take a... Because
I see.
All right, dropping out completely, I think that's a little crazy.
Right.
Because it's like you don't have money consistently coming in. You don't have any proof that it's going to work.
Yeah.
And obviously, if the issue is like, hey, I don't see myself doing this long term, I think definitely needs like a pivot, a change.
Right.
But, not taking a gap year, okay. I don't see your justification for why that is. I don't think you really explained that. So, why not gap year? And I don't think you necessarily need a gap year, but like, why not a gap semester?
Yeah.
Have you considered that?
No.
Okay, so let's start with why not gap year? Why'd you say no to gap year first?
I just said, well, what I said before was there's no like income coming in, there's nothing coming in, and my parents are gonna just be like, what the fuck? Like,
So it is your parents now that
well, yeah, they're gonna just be like, oh, you're kind of just wasting your life. Maybe. I don't know, but yeah.
I have no idea either.
Yeah,
but
I have no idea, but...
Well, what's your take on that? Do you care?
Well, I don't really care as long as I'm doing something with it. Well, because if I was gonna make a video on this too, about disappointing your parents, and especially since I don't know if I want to get a job, which is what they're expecting me to do, which is why they're sending me to college. I don't really mind it, and I kind of came to the conclusion that as long as I'm working hard at what I'm doing, then that's all that matters, because then I'm not taking their hard work for granted either.
100%.
Because that's what I would feel guilty of if they came here to give me a better life and I kind of just throw that all away. Then it's like, what the fuck are you doing with your life, kind of thing. And I feel like the only thing I can do is I can't make them expect me to do this or be satisfied with what I do or make them feel like it's enough, because at the end of the day, it's my life, and if I love what I do, if I'm working hard at it, I feel like that's the only thing I can really do on my part,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. I agree. I think it's like, just to recap with that, you don't want to waste your parents' effort. So the only way you can prove that you're not wasting their effort is you're just working hard and something that you're passionate about. Now, again, this is the tough part because Mumbling Thoughts is low commitment. It's raw, authentic
Yeah.
videos. It's very little editing. It's very little like content creating. It's just whatever comes to mind. I want to talk about it. I want to
Right.
share it with people,
Yeah.
right? So ideally, like, this isn't something you can hyper grow. This isn't something you can, like, next year be a millionaire from.
Right.
This is something
Yeah.
that like, and the way I look at it, it seems a lot more personal. It's like I do this because I want to do it,
Yeah.
and nobody like it's not like a commenter's telling me he wants this. It's just, I want to do this. I want to share with people what I'm going through, and maybe somebody will resonate with it.
Right.
And I think that's beautiful, and I think that's usually what the mentality people have when they are doing their things, and eventually they make it, right?
Yeah.
I think 100%. I believe Wesley will make it. He will be rich. He will figure things out.
Okay.
No, I truly believe that. I think you have
Oh,
like
yeah,
good
yeah.
discipline. You're smart. You have a good head on your shoulders, and there's not a doubt with that. But it's like going through these things. Like, hey, like let's not waste your $30,000 student loans, and let's consider like what are your possibilities, and like let's be creative with it, because at the end of the day, like you're confined to your own box if you don't talk to anybody else about it. But like you're telling me all these reasons, like, hey, I don't want to waste my parents' money, like I don't want to like show that I'm a dropout, but I don't really mind it. So like it goes back to the question, like, is a gap year really not something to consider, or a gap semester really not something to consider? Because like you said,
Yeah.
I might, if it's for just Mumbling Thoughts, it might
Right.
look like I'm not doing anything. But if I'm doing something else tied to it, then it's
What do you mean
Different.
by like something else tied to it?
like the thing you said with trading. It's like if
Oh,
I'm
okay,
learning
I see.
trading, I'm actively pursuing, I'm working hard,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it, and I can still pursue Mumbling Thoughts. Isn't that
I got what
isn't
you
that
mean.
fitting all your criteria?
Yeah.
You can show that you're doing something to your parents. You can show that like, hey, like I'm not looking for a corporate job, but like this is something that falls aligned with my long-term plans.
Yeah.
Like,
Um.
so I guess what are your thoughts on gap semester now that I mentioned it, like I put it that way?
Yeah. I mean, I would just say like what. Now what I'm thinking is, what am I gonna do with my time if I do take that gap semester? You know.
You gotta learn, dude.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know if I'll like be comfortable just like not doing anything. You know. I feel like,
What do you mean not doing anything?
as in, because school, I feel like, puts a structure around. It's something that you have to do, and you're like, okay, I'm going to school. Like, that's
Yeah.
good, you know? But when you aren't in school and you don't have any structure, or you don't have a job, then it's just like you're on your own kind of thing.
Oh,
you
I know,
So,
dude.
yeah, so-
I'm
yeah,
in.
I know.
So a
yeah,
little
yeah,
more
yeah.
background on me. I'm not in school right now, and I totally understand that it's way different. And honestly, like there's a blissfulness in being in school. I really like it, because I like you said, it's like you can connect with people. You're in this busy, crowded environment. There's classmates, all that stuff. But I also feel out of place. I also feel like, hey, I'm just getting put into this linear motion. I gotta find a job. I gotta work for somebody. I gotta be an intern, and then like
Yeah.
none of my work matters until it does, and then
Yeah.
like I don't want to do none of that shit. So like
And-
I think with what you're saying, it's like yeah, there's structure,
Yes, and
but you're not looking for a job.
I know, yeah. Okay, and then the other part of it is, when I realized that, I was like, let me do more things in school that be around the creative space.
Okay.
So, which is why this semester I'm taking 2 visual art classes, one which is visual thinking, and then another is graphic design. Just because that allows me to surround myself with creative people. And this, like 2 weeks ago, our professor brought us to like art galleries, and I'm like, this is really interesting. It's cool, and that's why I'm like thinking about taking more visual art classes, and then also potentially minoring in it next semester. So yeah, that kind of makes it better, I guess, because
So as you enjoy school a little more because of that.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's totally fair. But I would say you're still beating around the
I
bush.
know,
Like,
I am.
does that make sense to pursue a degree in finance
Yeah.
if it's a linear path? And like, I'm not saying there's an obvious answer. I'm not jumping to any conclusions.
yeah.
I want you to dig deep and like ask yourself like,
Yeah.
is there a different? Because like, dude, you're telling me you love art. That's all I'm
Yes.
hearing right now.
Yeah.
Is art a possibility?
I don't think so. I don't think turning it into a job would be like what I want to do.
Wait, what do you mean, finance or art?
Art.
Okay, but remember, finance is linear in the way that when you graduate from finance, you have to get a job in finance. There's no raising your own little fund
Right.
and starting this private equity thing. Like, there's none of that. But when you go into art, you can work at an agency, you can start your own thing, you can build your own agency. Like, is there not more possibility? Because it's a different skill set. It's a creative skill set. Rather, finance is a little more technical skill set. So you're very constrained to finance and your abilities in that, but in creative, it's different.
Yeah, and in the sense, it's also because when you're like in finance right now, you're kind of, you have that safety, not in the sense that it's easy to get into, but you get a paid salary and like there's income. But
I mean, you gotta work for that income, but yeah.
so yeah, and for creative spaces, yes, you can do that. And but like the whole thing with, I don't know about if the whole reason why I was in between Mumbling Thoughts and finance in the first place was because I didn't. Mumbling Thoughts was one, not to just make money or turn it into a business, which is why I'm like, I need something else that will
Sustain,
cover that, or sustain and cover that the money problem. And then so that's why I was like, finance is gonna do it. But now it's like, if I'm in finance, it's gonna take up my time. Then, what the fuck? That's like kind of counterintuitive, especially if it's investment banking.
But again, it goes back to, is this something you want to do long term? Or is it something that's just going to cover your money problems? Because there's many other ways to cover your money problems.
Like,
You can start, okay, we're going to go down this route. You can start a side hustle, starting an Amazon store with these productivity tools. You can start working at a cafe. You can, I don't know, work as a marketing media manager, doing creative work at
I gotcha.
this small business. Like, there's so many different avenues that's not tied to just money, finance, analytics, and all this, right? And you can keep going down that route. You can do analytics and stuff. There's opportunities.
So,
but I think the question here is like, if if art is a skill that you really want to learn and develop and get better at, like, that doesn't constrain you to only doing art. It goes well into marketing. That goes well into vision and strategy. That goes well into pretty much everything. You could do web design. You could schedule content. Like, there's so many things that you could do with a creative background.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with a finance background. So
True.
that's also my issue with finance. It's pretty capped. You're more manager level, but and it's more budgetary. And also finance isn't so much budgetary. It's my own problem.
And like another thought I had was maybe like I might want to become an art handler.
What does that mean?
So basically at galleries, there's the artist themselves. There's the curator who decides how to arrange the art, and then the art handler basically does the physical labor of hanging the art on the walls and then being at the actual art gallery to like kind of protect the space, but also talk to people who like come by. And I'm like, okay, like this seems cool. Like maybe I could do that. So that was one thought as well.
Okay, so let's put that down. You have an iPad here, let's put that down. What if art handler plus Mumbling Thoughts?
Yeah.
'Cause I think another question I have is, hey, like, you don't got to go investment banking and try to carry Mumbling Thoughts. First of all, I don't think it'll work because you need to prep for investment banking.
True.
But doesn't mean you can't work a job and have Mumbling Thoughts. Because ideally, like, you just want to be able to do Mumbling Thoughts long term.
Right.
Right. And then you just need a day job to sustain your day. But you don't want to work a job. You want to work something that's more, creative, flexible?
Sure.
Okay. So creative and flexible, I would say, is an important thing that you're looking for. So creative, flexible. And then when we say, let's call it a job for now. Job can be a business job, can be a job.
Yeah.
Plus Mumbling Thoughts.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that pays. So I highlighted this. This is the money problem. And this is your creative outlet. So this is what I have right now. None of you guys will be able to read this. Okay.
They can.
But this is Wesley. He needs a creative, flexible job, plus Mumbling Thoughts. Create a flexible job, give him his day income, or this is his day job, bringing his money problems, helping solve his money problems, and then Mumbling Thoughts is his creative outlet. So
Yes.
cool. What are some other possibilities? So we put trading down as one.
Yeah.
Right? What are some other things? You said art handler?
Yeah.
Art handler. And there's something else I have to go back to after this, but I do want to hit on this.
But are you okay? So right now, are you saying, are you saying okay? So are you basically saying, have something that covers like the money problem, and then I'm working on Mumbling Thoughts, and this is in hopes that Mumbling Thoughts will grow into something.
Well, based off what you told me, what you want is to trade money on the side so you can cover your money problems.
Yeah.
And you want to keep doing Mumbling Thoughts because
Right.
that's what you're passionate about.
Yes.
Right. And trading, it seems like you might be passionate about.
Right.
Question mark. Right?
Question mark. Sure.
But the thing is, what I'm asking is like, hey, is there anything else besides trading that fits towards your long-term goal? Because what you want is purposeful plus long-term.
Okay. Yeah.
But finance doesn't check off on long-term or purposeful.
Yes.
It's just interesting.
Yes. Yes,
So-
that's right.
What other things can...
But okay, but the thing with like a job would still be that it's taking time.
Okay, so... what do you
And then
think?
that's like finances, like a job in finance is also taking time.
Right, but your issue isn't taking time. Well, from what you said before, it wasn't taking time. It was something that's purposeful and long-term. Because you said, I don't want to work in I'm stuck between investment banking because like I can make good money from it, but it's not something I see a lot of like purpose in. And specifically, I can do this for a long duration of time.
Right. Okay.
I would have to switch roles, like change my career.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, let's avoid things like that. Let's focus on like what are things that are purposeful that you can see yourself doing for a long duration of time. Because a job isn't bad,
Right.
but trading is more like a business, right?
Yeah.
So then we're thinking between jobs and businesses.
Okay.
What are other possibilities that can fill that need? You need to make money. That time issue is like, oh yeah, you gotta spend time. Like, yeah, that's up to you. You can pick how much you're worth per hour, but that's up to you. Because an art handler, you can only make so much money, right?
Right.
Trading, yes, there's a more scalable amount of money, but you have to still invest a lot of time to learn how to trade.
Yeah.
And you still need the capital to trade. So build your portfolio up still needs time. Everything's gonna need time.
Right.
But the thing isn't about time. It's about purpose and long term. Because that's what you actually care about. No matter what, you're always gonna have to spend time.
Yeah.
So what are some other options we have in mind? And then you can just clip some of this stuff out too later, like where
Yeah.
you're just thinking and stuff. But I think it's a deep question.
Like what else that I can do to make money?
Makes money, but is purposeful and that you can see yourself doing for a long time. Because like again, you gotta like think, Mumbling Thoughts. It might take 5 years for it to hit off, right? And then you can actually monetize and make money off of it.
Yeah.
Ideally sooner would be better, but we prepare for the worst.
Right.
And we hope for the best.
Yeah.
So what can bring you money now? What can bring you money that you'll find, enjoyable and that you can see yourself doing even if Mumbling Thoughts doesn't work out, or even if you give up on Mumbling Thoughts?
I gotcha. So I have my schedule set for next semester, right? And I have a lot of time during the day.
Dude,
So
before we even get into that, you're still a finance major.
no, I know. Okay, so
Is that even right?
what?
Being a finance major still?
Yeah, I mean it's still. What do you mean? Is that right? Right in what sense? Like, is it actually right, or is it like right in the sense that like
Everything you've told me says I don't want to go into finance because
Yeah.
it's just interesting. It's not purposeful. It makes money, but it's not something I see myself doing long term. So why do it? Because your last video said like, hey, like life is short. Why do
right,
things that
why
aren't
do it-
purposeful?
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like, does it like that's what I want to go back to. It's like, what about school? Because at the end of the day, like, you're still gonna be a finance major. You're still dropping 25 grand. It seems like you are worried about your parents, but you do want to show that you can work hard, but you need this day job. That's the work hard.
And then, so what was your, like,
So then you want to go back to that? You want to come back to this creative, flexible job thing?
whichever.
Okay. If you're going back to school next semester, I'm sorry, Wesley's mom, for seeing this now, but I promise you in 20 years, you're going to be super proud of your son. If you're going back to school next semester, how many finance classes are you taking?
Taking
Like 3, right?
Something 3 or 4, something like that.
Okay. And then that's going to be end of junior year, and then you have one more year, and then you're off to the races. You're starting your career.
Yeah.
But you don't even want to go into finance. What's the point of that?
Well, the only point is so I can get money and get out.
Right, but then you don't even want to do that. You just told me
Yeah.
you don't want to do like unpurposeful work. You don't want to do something that's not long
Like,
term.
the thing is, sometimes you'd have to, which is the problem I'm wrestling with.
Okay, but the thing is, so should we like scratch off everything you said before? It's like, no, doing unpurposeful work is okay. Or are you still about this? Hey, like my time is limited.
Yeah, I feel like
because that's the question
right.
you're wrestling
So
with.
the question is basically, doing unpurposeful things in order to satisfy the money problems, or you're on a time crunch basically, and there's a sense of urgency and you want to pursue what your purpose, like what you feel passionate about.
Your first one was more accurate in my eyes.
What was the first
When
one?
you just said like doing unpurposeful things to solve the money problem so you can do the other things.
Versus, yeah. No, there's like a 2 sides to the coin.
Oh, that was one complete thing?
Yeah.
That you just, oh, okay. I
That
thought
was
you
one
were
side
saying
of the
two
coin.
different, I thought you were
So
like,
yeah, so it's either you're okay with doing unpurposeful things for the short term in order to satisfy the money problem, or on the other side of the coin, it's to do what you're passionate about now, but you don't know about the monetary issue, you know? Yeah.
no, I don't think it's like you completely ignore the monetary issue. It's like there's ways to
Okay.
supplement that.
Right.
And that's like kind of why it's like, okay, what do we combine mumbling thoughts with to fill your day?
Yeah. I mean, how, like, okay, so the only difference between like me getting a job that's creative, flexible,
Not even a job, it could be a business or starting a business that's creative and flexible.
well, starting a business also it takes time.
you're gonna
and then-
take time no matter
I
what.
get that. So it takes time, and then it also requires capital to start,
There's different ways to start a business.
depending on what the business is, though.
Yeah. I'm not saying start a gym if that's what
Right.
you're alluding to.
No, that is what I'm alluding to.
I'm not saying you can start a
Okay,
gym.
so
You can
what-
start
what-
personal training. You could start. There's so many things that you could do with zero capital. I started a business with no money.
That's true.
I want a business pitch competition to help me get started. There's so many things you can apply for. You have $10,000 that you're trading on. Instead, you can invest that $10,000 into your own business. There's so many things that you can do.
Yeah.
But you're limiting yourself to, I have to trade or be an art handler, and I can't do business. But like, why can't you? Like,
Right.
that's also a possibility.
Yeah.
Also, gyms are cheap, so just want to let you know that.
Gyms are not cheap.
Dude, I saw a
The
gym for like
equipment.
well, yeah, but the thing is, like, I saw a gym for like $100,000 that you could buy. Obviously, I don't know what the. Okay, let me take that back. I don't know what the quality of that was.
Exactly. So.
It could have been just a warehouse.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Unpurposeful work for the short term, yes or no? Is that something you can agree with? That like, you know what? Like, I'll just bite the bullet and I'll do this unpurposeful work. Okay, I don't want to say waste. Now that sounds biased. Spend my year and a half learning finance, prepping for finance,
Right.
making $100,000, or making maybe not even 100,000, maybe
Like 80
80 or
grand.
60. If it's corporate banking, it's gonna be 60,000. If it's investment banking, it's gonna be 100,000.
Well, it depends on the bonus. So investment banking has a huger bonus, which is why it's
Right.
bigger salary. Yeah.
It's
and
mostly
then
bonus actually.
Yeah.
It's like what I saw was like 80 plus like 50 grand. But the thing is that 50 grand
So
is taxed at
so,
50%.
yeah. So corporate banking, they all start at the same. It's just bonus
No, but you make less money in corporate banking.
because of the bonus.
No, not just because of that too. But what I saw was like you can make like 65% of what investment banking makes
Well,
pre-bonus. So
yeah.
I guess that could be 80,000. That could be 60,000. But
Yeah,
nonetheless,
well,
you're
yeah,
making
okay,
less
yeah,
money.
exactly.
Right?
Right. Yeah. Right. So, but you get more time.
You're still spending 40 to 50 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that.
That's a full
I
a full
know.
week of working.
I know.
That is not easy.
Yeah. Okay. So, like with the like let's say job, right? That we're gonna talk about. Well, how many hours are we looking at that? Similar to corporate banking, I would assume, though, or just a job at corporate.
Wait, what are you saying? Are
I'm
you saying
talking.
after you graduate from college?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we gotta even see like what you're gonna do with your college degree.
No, I know. Okay, so what I'm saying is the time I'm gonna be spent working on corporate, like at the job, would be the same as me working at like a cafe or whatever.
Yeah, if you work 40 hours at a cafe, you're gonna work 40 hours at corporate banking.
Yeah.
Investment banking, I
and-
think, is out of the picture. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
So you're gonna at most work 50 hours a week at a
Sure.
job.
Okay, yeah. And then, but why don't I work at that finance job, corporate banking instead, get more money?
Yeah.
Than compared to that, right?
Yeah, you could.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's out of the picture.
Right.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You solve your money problems. But the thing is, does it check off the purposeful work and long term?
Right. So,
'Cause if Mumbling Dots doesn't work out, what's gonna sustain your life for the next 5 years
you're talking
after
about
graduating?
like while I'm working that job.
I'm saying after you graduate college, you got this finance degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Mumbling Thoughts still. Now you have this corporate banking job, but
Yes.
Mumbling Thoughts doesn't work out, and you
Doesn't work out how?
like you just stopped. You gave up on it. Something happened. You're like,
I doubt.
right. Okay, so let's say it takes longer than expected.
Okay, then.
5 years is. It takes 10 years, but you don't know that's going to take 10 years.
Right. We don't know how long it's gonna take. We don't
Yeah.
know.
And when we say take, it means like you reaching a
The ability to
monetizable ability.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, are you okay working this corporate banking job until you're 30 years old?
No, because I'd be at the office and I wouldn't have like the ability to go do shit I want.
So it's not purposeful. So it doesn't cross off that box.
Shit I want meaning I don't have the time to like go
Purposeful,
out, do things, yeah.
Well, it's not just do things. You want to do things that mean
No, I'm
something.
talking about like do things as like experience life or do shit I want to do.
Okay, but you're not gonna get that at your job.
Right, I'm not. But okay, so like what I'm saying is, well, strictly what like in the context that we're saying,
Yeah.
getting a job, I wouldn't have the time to do things I love or things I'd want to do.
Well, I mean, you're only working for 40, 50 hours. You have the rest of the week. That's another 30, 40 hours. So would you not have a little more time?
I guess.
Because no matter what, you're gonna spend 40 hours at something. These are your 20s, right?
Right.
Ideally, you're spending more than 40, 50 hours in your 20s.
Yeah.
And you're okay because it's supposed to be purposeful work.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So does it make sense to work corporate banking?
I mean, okay, let's say we're doing corporate banking for like, let's say 2 years, right? So after college, like, let's say 2 years.
Okay.
That's 3.5 years from now. That's 3.5 years from now that I'm also going to be working on Mumbling Thoughts.
Okay.
Assuming that. What I'm trying to say
Oh, you also
is-
got to make sure corporate banking is okay with you running Mumbling Thoughts. Because that's your public persona.
That's true. That's true.
So that's something else I did want to bring up before, but I forgot about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Because there's other jobs that are okay with you posting this stuff, but
yeah.
thing with corporate, and then especially specifically finance, it's like, will they let that slide? Will they even be interested in someone like you
Yeah.
like that?
I mean, what if I work corporate at not a bank? What if I go corporate finance into like
Well, corporate banking is supposed to be like debt and
No,
everything
yeah,
investment
okay,
banking before companies and debt.
No, but there's corporate sides at like regular companies. Like let's
You're just saying
say-
working at a corporate company, but what are you gonna be doing at the corporate company?
No, I'm saying like your regular like create like let's say like Sony, let's say Nissan.
So you're saying like corporate finance,
Corporate
but
finance
within
there.
large corporations.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that's what we were talking about, to be honest, but
Was
Okay.
no? I thought corporate finance as in like corporate finance at a bank like TD Bank, Citibank, Capital One.
right. I
Yeah,
guess that is
just-
true.
Well, that's what I was going along with.
Right. Yeah,
As for corporate bank, but then
that
like
makes sense.
I don't know how corporate banking at like let's say like we could do I do.
But again,
corporate-
you're still working corporate. Like,
yeah,
are
I know,
they gonna let
but
us live?
if it's at like a creative like Sony Entertainment,
They're creative,
right?
but you're in finance, and that's not creative.
But the thing is, you can be exposed to the creative.
You can be
Space.
exposed to their creative.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're allowed to post stuff about you cursing and shit representing their company.
I kind of see where.
Because
that's
remember, they're a $1 billion business,
Yeah.
and they have one guy, like, talking about his life.
They
with this
don't know
business.
I work at.
They will.
this-
They will HR check you, dude.
Yeah, I
they
know.
spend so much money
Yeah.
on HR.
Hmm.
So I guess that's the question. Is it even possible?
Is that even possible? Who
Hey,
knows?
ED, could you double
Hey,
check for
ED.
us if you can work a corporate job posting about your life and stuff on your Instagram and YouTube? Can you be an influencer working at Instagram in corporate finance?
It's content.
This content.
This guy's life.
If it's about your life, sure. If it's about relationships, probably not. It's an HR issue. Just be sensible.
I don't know.
So, seems like could be an issue.
Could be an issue.
But if you work smaller than that, not corporate, there might be more opportunities where you can do that and still get that good paying job. But the question isn't that, it's school.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going into finance.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have to change a major.
To what?
I don't fucking know. I can't answer that question for you.
Well, it's not gonna be like philosophy or some other thing.
I don't fucking know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. But the thing is, like, doesn't that mean you need time to think about it? Because you can't figure that shit out today.
Mm-hmm.
You can't figure that shit out in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's gonna take some fucking time. And I think the only way to allow yourself to get that time is take a gap semester. Dude, there's no harm in a gap semester. You actually figure out if your money is being spent the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're just putting yourself in the race faster. I know you're worried about your mom. I know you're worried about all this other stuff. But like, think for their money too. Do you want to waste it in finance? Do you want to waste it on taking classes that you actually are going to end up switching out of? I would say take time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can also unenroll all the way until before the first day of your classes. So, and you're not out of the school. You still have your account. You still have all this stuff. They just
Mm-hmm.
they're like, okay, Wesley's taking a break for this semester.
Yeah.
We're laying real shit on your life. Your mom's not gonna like me after this, but she's gonna like me after 20 years. I'll tell you that.
It's crazy.
That's the reality of it. This is all your own thoughts. I'm just
No,
I'm just
I
helping
know.
you think through it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
This is mumbling thoughts. You gotta share with others what you're thinking, what you're reflecting on. And if it's the I don't knows, that's the
I mean,
perfect.
there is nothing that is going through my head. It's like going blank right now.
Yeah. That's you getting tired as well.
Yeah.
Mumble on it.
Well, I am gonna mumble, but
Yeah.
like you said, it's not that quick.
No, I'm not saying like mumble on it right now, but I'm just saying like, you know, this is your show. This is mumbling thoughts. This is Wesley getting stressed and documenting his life.
Yeah.
And I'm in his diary right now asking him all these questions.